All right, we're back. Let's close this door, though. We're starting in here, sorry. Oh, come on. Focus, people, focus. 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so how was lunch? Everybody have a good lunch? And my general admonition is, so who connected with somebody new on LinkedIn? I want to see a show of hands. All right, good, good. I did too, actually. Sometimes I don't because I'm too busy blabbing. People don't know me. Yeah, who connected with me on LinkedIn? Actually, she did. Hala did. It was good. Okay, so we're back. Yeah, the community thing, that's my admonition, right? My guidance, my promotion. This is a community. We've self-selected. We're here because we're all interested in the same topic and excited about the benefit that it's going to deliver, how it's going to transform how we live and work. And I may not live to see a lot of it, but I'm going to see some of it, and your kids are going to see more of it, and your grandkids are going to really benefit from it. So just my 2 cents on that. All right, to kick us off, we have a keynote from Dr. Salman Abdullah. He's head of product development at Quantlace, and his talk is titled Middle East's First Photonic AI Chip Technology White Paper, A Leap from Concept to Execution. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for being here. It's really a nice opportunity to be talking on this platform, and basically take it as an opportunity to update the community on the status of our photonic chip development project. So why we're developing the photonic chips? Obviously starting from any operation optimization at sea, vessel routing, vessel navigation, everything all boils down to. Okay, sorry. So all these operations, optimization operations at sea, most of them, they boil down to a single matrix operation. And our approach is, if we transfer this operation from electronic domain to photonic, which is done with light, we improve on energy efficiency and latency. So that's a massive advantage. And obviously, through our work, we are positioning our work as a vehicle to move, to do that leap, and that is to transfer this from the electronic domain to the photonic domain. And obviously, it's not just about demonstrating a POC, not just a proof of concept, but in fact providing a roadmap for a hardware deployment. And obviously from that aspect, being the head of the product development at Quantlace Research and Development Center, I'd like to present our work on this project. And in August this year, we released a detailed white paper as well on the project. I'd encourage everyone to see the website of Quantlace Research and Development Center. It's all details in there. And I'm very proudly presenting our work on the Middle East's first photonic AI chip. And I'm head of the product development at Quantlace Research and Development Center. So as I mentioned, over here, we're not just talking about the concept. Everyone's aware of the concept of matrix multiplication being the core operation, underlining the AI operations. But we are here to present a full roadmap with execution, and also provide some evidence already, evidence of execution, and provide our roadmap with milestones and deliverables. So for today's talk, I would start with presenting the problem statement and an introduction to our work. And I'll talk about what is our contribution, what is our approach, what's our contribution, and why does this work matter for quantum tech and obviously for maritime themes as well. Our approach, I'll be talking about the details of our approach, which involves implementing the matrix multiplication operation in photonic domain. also the key selling points of the photonic integrated chip technology, which is obviously not just a technology, but also a launch pad for commercialization and productization. And that's obviously the key selling point of the photonic integrated chip technology. We will provide a functionality validation method, the method that we've used in our white paper, and also show results. On the results, I would also take an opportunity to show the scanning electron microscope images, which is like really hard evidence of the execution. Obviously, during our technology development for this particular use case, we've seen some challenges. And I talk briefly about some key challenges, mostly export controls, because for a sovereign technology development, that's one of the key dimensions of execution that needs to be talked about. Finally, I'd be detailing our roadmap and next steps. So moving on to the next slide. Right. So as I mentioned, the core operation underlining, the core mathematical operation underlining AI operations is the matrix multiplication. And obviously the main problem is that with AI and machine learning workloads, matrix multiplication, it dominates the compute power requirements. Now, because these electronic MAC operations, they can take up a lot of, obviously they are very power hungry, and because of the latency, they create a bottleneck. Now, this is where our approach comes in, the use case that we are targeting. So this is the general technology use case. We'll be talking about the business use case later on. So if we transfer this and offload this process from the electronic to photonic domain, if we move that, the immediate benefits that we get is obviously cut the energy cost per operation and reduce the latency on the inference. And that's actually the key theme. The work that we've done and the results that I'm going to present today, they will be about positioning our work as an inference acceleration engine. And obviously, we've delivered results backed by industry-grade execution, and obviously with results, which I'm going to show today, with evidence. And obviously, it is relevant to the quantum maritime theme because as I touched upon this in the start, all these operations, they boil down to matrix multiplication, and there we are targeting, our approach is to improve the efficiency and reduce the latency by moving the entire bit from the electronic to the photonic domain. And obviously, given the versatility of the chip platform, this can be purposed, this can be tailored to application-specific business use cases. Okay, right. The key benefits, obviously, I did touch upon them in the introduction, but this platform is fast, efficient, and a scalable one. Energy management, obviously there is no resistive heat in the core of the multiplier operation when it is implemented in a photonic domain using photonic chips as a launchpad. And because of this fact, the inference becomes really fast. And that results in a very low latency inference for AI models, just in this case, but obviously it can be used for, as I mentioned, for business-specific use cases. The main beauty of this approach, of this platform, is that it's scalable and it can be integrated into existing infrastructure. For example, if you look at the manufacturability aspects, that's really one of the key selling points. So the main themes, right. I think it would be good if I present some bit of technical details on what is our work, how are we doing this, what approach have we taken, justification for the particular approach. So with this work for this platform, we are using silicon photonics platform to demonstrate the proof of concept of matrix multiplication on the chip. Why we are using silicon photonics now, I'll be talking more about the industrial bits over here, because what we demonstrated is actually not a lab scale prototype, but actually something positioned towards a product grade deployment. So why we've chosen silicon photonics platform is because of the clean manufacturing process. Silicon photonics, because of the decades of R&D which has gone into the production process maturity, obviously results in a very clean chip, very clean manufacturing process. Given the strengths of the ecosystem around the world, it means that you can really target flexible production runs, what we call them multi-project wafer runs. Some would run over 7 or 8 months, but if you plan it carefully, you can target for 3-4 months of a production line as well. And there are ecosystem partners who are also, by the way, looking for establishing their business across the continents. And for example, we have a PIC Summit meeting in the first week of November. That's really a venue where all the major players in the chip industry would convene. How we validate the functionality. Obviously, the first step, and it's not only the first step, but it needs to be the first time right approach, because the cost of design, the cost of manufacturing at the end, if it just yields a dead chip, it's too much. So we've taken our approach, which is aligned with the industry standards of validating the functionality using the production-grade simulation platforms. In our case, we've used OptiSim, which basically takes into account parameters reflecting the real-world operation condition of the chips. We've constructed our matrix multiplication core using Mach-Zehnder interferometers. So that's used to construct the core of the chip, and then we apply individual waveforms into the chip input, and then we check the output of the chip, output ports of the chip, to verify that there is a matrix multiplication operation. So once that test is passed, only then we proceed to the manufacturer and lock the production schedule. The modular design, so that's one of an example I'd like to show. In the image on bottom right, you see a Mach-Zehnder interferometer, and it's just a schematic where I've highlighted the key building blocks of a Mach-Zehnder interferometer, for example, phase shifters, couplers, waveguide. The way we do that, as I mentioned, the production-grade simulation platform is we connect these bits, and then we simulate the system, we simulate the chip, and one such snapshot is presented in the image on the right. So that construction corresponds to a Mach-Zehnder interferometer when simulated in the OptiSim platform. So that's our approach. Now, I'd like to briefly talk about the design of the chip. One bit, which is obviously, it's popping up, is the core of the chip, which is confidential. The reason why you're projecting so is because it's supposed to be a deployable product with a commercial value. So just the core bit of the chip we are protecting with confidentiality. But I'd like to briefly go through the key areas, the key features of the chip. And we are also going to see some images now from the hardware manufacturer. So we have zone 1, where the input signals are applied. A particular business case for which this chip is developed is financial inference. So input signals are applied to ports at zone 1, and then because it's a matrix multiplication operation, zone 3 is where we input or tune the weight matrices. Zone 2 is the key compute core of the chip. It involves connecting the Mach-Zehnder interferometer in a specific set order. Now that set order, the reason we are protecting the confidentiality is because It's validated through a number of filters, including export controls. And I'll briefly touch on this, on why this is so important for the project development. But the key takeaways from this simulations is that coherent or incoherent signals can be applied to the input ports of the chip. And when they are varied and the matrix elements weights are tuned, we can see corresponding change in the output of the matrix multiplication on the output ports. And we've used a particular simulation method called tracer bullet in industry, and what that means is basically you trace a light waveform from an input port of the chip all the way down to the exit. And you look at each module input and output and verify that each module of the system is working, which is why we call it the modular approach. And then we verify the output. Obviously, it was not just a technology development, but we approached every layer of this project, starting from the use case definition to the technology development schedule, and all the way up to export controls, because that's a key dimension of this execution. During our project, we found out that there are a number of areas, for example, a particular construction of the chip elements, which is prohibited by the control, export controls. And there are some regulations which actually which govern these bits, and I'll talk briefly about them on the next slide. But this approach shows how we de-risked the program. So this is a de-risking strategy. Obviously, when a use case is defined and we put together the building blocks of the chip, ecosystem build, because of the location, the geostrategic location of United Arab Emirates, if it has to be something which is production line and planned towards product deployment, it has to be done through strategic partnerships, and that's where ecosystem players, ecosystem build around each business-specific use case comes into play. The material platform selection for the chip, for example, if the development is done on silicon photonics, if it's done on indium phosphide, that changes the story. The timeline, the partners that you choose, the cost that you pay, and whether the form factor is compact or not. Obviously, export control landscape, because that's the final exit, which means if you develop your chips in partnerships with a manufacturing facility, you'd want to ensure that when the modules are developed and packaged and tested, that they can exit the continent and basically smoothly flow into the country. And finally, a chip design and test alignment is a method used in chip industry called assembly design kit and test design kit, which ensures that when you take the first step, it's always done right, and you know all the way up till the final execution, final delivery, that the chips, when packaged into the module, would work. Okay. Now, just a bit on the export compliance. So, by the way, export compliance doesn't mean that we're just buying something and flowing it here. No, it means that there are a number of factors of the technology development. When you touch on them, they would trigger export controls. For example, the way we tune the Mach-Zehnder interferometer on the chip, interconnect bandwidth of the chip, performance speeds, which is the floating operations per second, cryogenic operations, for example, and locked digital conversion sampling rates. These type of metrics would normally trigger European export controls under the 2021 regulation, and also the Wassenaar arrangement under Category 3, because there were a number of areas, a number of parts on the chip development during the chip development project, which we found out if we did a particular configuration like an electro-optic, it would trigger the EU 2021 regulation, which means you can't do that. So I'm sure I'll be able to finish in time. Right, okay, here's the result. So these results, obviously the center image is the optical micrograph of our chip. By the way, it's entered the final stages of the production. So that's the key, that's a key image with all the zones which I showed on the design slide earlier. Image label number 1 corresponds to zone number 1, which is one of a packaging feature. Zone number 2 is where the thermo-optic tunes would connect to a particular waveguide here, the SEM image, to control the phase of the Mach-Zehnder interferometer. Zone number 4 is where the output ports are connected on the chip. They're formed. This also shows a very nice, clean waveguide. Obviously, the resolution is not so great. We can't see the measurements, but it corresponds to a very mature fabrication process. The SEM image on the bottom right shows the QRDC logo, a metallized logo. That is a part of a mask which is printed on the chip, designed towards the very end of the manufacture process, which means the chip is really at the end of the manufacture process. So that's some SEM images. The size of our chip is 10 millimeter by 5 millimeter. Technical and program challenges. Because of a number of, this program and technology development has to be considered from the lens of a number of factors, ultimately deciding the technology development, tuning speed of the Mach-Zehnder interferometer, data stream interface, for example, how we inject data into the chip, and export control landscape, the most important element of our execution. So these were the key technical and programmatic challenges. In terms of next steps, right, so this is our roadmap from the concept to deliverable hardware. We've completed the design of the matrix multiplication chip already, and we validated the functionality. In January 26, we are expecting to receive our silicon photonics chips, and by May 2026, we are projecting to have final hardware modules delivered, and the form factor and the CAD drawing has been generated through the test design kit methodology, which is commonly used in the photonic chip industry. So that's our roadmap for this particular project. But overall, the product development roadmap obviously has a number of important steps. Once we establish the validated functionality of the matrix multiplication and the final module is delivered, we establish the baseline specs with it. And once that's done, then we start designing a training module on chip, which means that once the chips are developed, they would have the inference and training capability both installed on chip. In terms of system integration, the training and the inference capabilities need to be combined and put together on a single chip. And once that's done, then finally the module and the test specs would be established to create a baseline, a golden standard for performance. And finally, there are a number of bits which we've obviously not put here in the presentation because of the time constraints, but all the details are part of our chip technology white paper, and that is the white paper that we talked about in the start of the presentation. I'd encourage everyone to please take a look, and if you do find it interesting, obviously we are open to collaboration. Do reach out. We'd love to see and explore any synergies on how we can collaborate together. And that is basically it. Thank you very much for your attention.